Welcome to Tabernacle Talk. Tabernacle Talk is a Bible study podcast brought from Tabernacle Baptist Church in Essex, Maryland. I'm your host, Brian Self. We hope this podcast encourages you to know Christ, grow in His Word, and show His love to others. Let's dive right in. Welcome back to Tabernacle Talk. We are back in our study in Isaiah, and we are going to be in Isaiah chapters 15 and 16 today. We are back into God saying, nations of the world, you are in trouble. And so the particular nation in view here in chapters 15 and 16 is the nation of Moab. So Moab is a super interesting story as you walk through Scripture. You can look back at our Tabernacle Baptist Essex sermon podcast. I preached a message in Genesis 19 called The Beginning of Judgment, or the beginning of God's judgment, something like that, and talked about the family origins of Moab. These are semi-relatives to the Israelites through Abraham's nephew Lot, and he had two sons, Moab and Ammon. And so Moab was one that in Deuteronomy chapter 2, as Israel was going to enter the land, God made sure to tell the children of Israel, hey, for the descendants of Esau, for the descendants of Moab, and the descendants of Ammon, do not attack these people groups. Do not try to step foot on their land because I've given them these portions around Israel as part of their inheritance. So he says, this land belongs to someone else. I will not give it to you guys. So don't try it. We are also told in Scripture that these would be people groups that Israel was not intended to intermarry with, or at least not casually, as a result of the fact that they worshipped false gods, kind of a hodgepodge of the different deities that were around the land of Canaan at that time. And then we can see in the story of Ruth, the Moabitess, that there was a woman who previously her family worshipped other gods, but as a family from Bethlehem, actually the son of Rahab? No, I forgot about that. The family lineage and genealogy gets a little squirrely in there. It's Boaz is Rahab's son, and then Boaz ends up marrying Ruth, who is a Moabitess, and then their great-grandson or great-great-grandson is King David. So there you have the chosen line of David is from half from this people group, the land of Moab. So even as we read through a lot of these things of God's judgment, here it is, as we've read, against Israel, God's chosen people. They could experience judgment for their sin. Ditto with the southern kingdom of Judah. And then now over to Moab, these people that had been previously protected by God in some aspects, but God has something to say against them. Verse number 1, a pronouncement concerning Moab. Ar in Moab is devastated. This would be kind of like a region, capital city area would be the idea there. You can think of saying something like DC or the DMV in our area of the world over here in Maryland, where it's like the capital, but there's a little bit more land around it that is there. He says, Ar in Moab is devastated, destroyed in a night. Kir in Moab is devastated, destroyed in a night. This would be another big city. Dibon went up to its temple to weep at its high places. Moab wails on Nebo and at Medeba. Every head is shaved, every beard is cropped short. In its streets they wear sackcloth, on its rooftops and in its public squares. Everyone wails, falling down and weeping. Heshbon and Elealeh cry out. Their voices are heard as far away as Jahaz. Therefore the soldiers of Moab cry out, and they tremble. My heart cries out over Moab, whose fugitives flee as far as Zoar, to Eglath. Oh my goodness. I do not often, as you guys know, I don't often have to straight up stop and sound out a name of a city, but this city's name is Eglath Shalishiyah. Eglath Shalishiyah is quite the mouthful. You can name your kid that if you are pregnant and looking for baby names. They go up the ascent of Luhith weeping. They raise a cry of destruction on the road to Horonaim. So here he's walking through, there's a bunch of cities, towns, areas within Moab, and he's saying, if you will, using kind of our parlance, from Juneau to Maine to Jacksonville to Los Angeles, there is crying, there's weeping, the soldiers are afraid, everyone is dressed up in funeral clothing. That's the idea that we have here. Verse number 6, the waters of Nimrim are desolate. The grass is withered, the foliage is gone, the vegetation is vanished. Think of an agricultural setting. There's no more ability to grow food. There is hunger. There is famine and devastation here. Verse number 7, so they carry their wealth and belongings over the Wadi of the Willows. A wadi would be a very shallow stream that would only have water at particular times of year when there was very heavy rain, and then it would kind of flood up and over, but it didn't normally have water. So that's kind of what's going on there. For their cry echoes throughout the territory of Moab. Their wailing reaches Eglaim. Their wailing reaches Beer-elim. The waters of Dibon are full of blood. But I will bring on Dibon even more than this, a lion for those who escape from Moab and for the survivors in the land. So here, for Moab's wickedness, there would be a total devastation of the land. Even as we know today, there's no country named Moab, and that is because its people were defeated and then assimilated long, long ago. Verse number chapter 16. Send lambs to the ruler of the land, from Selah in the desert to the mountain of daughter Zion. Like a bird fleeing, forced from the nest, the daughters of Moab will be at the fords of the Arnon. So, hey, send a message to Jerusalem about Moab here. Give us counsel and make a decision. Shelter us at noonday with shade that is as dark as night. Hide the refugees. Do not betray the one who flees. Let my refugees stay with you. Be a refuge for Moab from the aggressor. When the oppressor is gone, destruction is ended, and marauders have vanished from the land. A throne will be established in love, and one will sit on it faithfully in the tent of David, the descendant of Moab, judging and pursuing what is right, quick to execute justice. Okay, so after all of the marauders, the invaders are gone, who could it be from the line of David that is going to be one that reigns in love? Well, of course, this is Jesus, the son of David. Verse number 6, we've heard of Moab's pride, how very proud he is, his haughtiness, his pride, his arrogance, and his empty boasting. Therefore, let Moab wail. Let every one of them wail for Moab. You who are completely devastated, mourn for the raisin cakes of Kir Hareseth, for Heshbon's terraced vineyards and the grapevines of Sibmah have withered. The rulers of the nations have trampled its choice vines that reached as far as Jazer and spread to the desert. Their shoots spread out and reached the sea. So I join with Jazer to weep for the vines of Sibmah. I drench Heshbon and Elealeh with my tears. Triumphant shouts have fallen silent over your summer fruit and your harvest. Joy and rejoicing have been removed from the orchard. No one is singing or shouting for joy in the vineyards. No one tramples grapes in the wine presses. I've put an end to the shouting. Therefore I moan like the sound of a lyre for Moab, as does my innermost being for Kir Hares. When Moab appears and tires himself out on the high place and comes to his sanctuary to pray, it will do him no good. So here, the incredible agricultural successes that the nation of Moab had, their wine presses, raisin cakes, grapevines, all of that comes to an end. And it didn't matter the high places, those places of worship that Moab had been trusting in, that was not where salvation would be found. If you will, the only true place for salvation or safety is found in Yahweh, in the Lord, which is then what we read in verses kind of like 4 and 5 about them coming to the, daughter Zion, the city of God, and looking forward to the one who's related to them from the line of David, who would be able to reign in justice, that the oppressors and marauders would be long gone. Verse number 13. This is the message that Yahweh previously announced about Moab. And now Yahweh says, in 3 years, as a hired worker counts years, Moab's splendor will become an object of contempt, in spite of a very large population, and those who are left will be few and weak. God does not play favorites. He doesn't even play favorites here with quote-unquote family. That when there is justice that needs to be done, God will bring it. So the only place of safety for you and I today is the same as it was in chapter 16. It is found in the one from the tent of David, who reigns in love, who judges and pursues what is right, and the one that is quick to execute justice. Let us call on him for his mercy and his grace, and he will answer lovingly, compassionately, and eagerly. May we not pursue evil, because evil, whether personally, within families, within nations, evil and unrighteousness destroys a people and brings us low, but righteousness exalts a nation. So let's pursue God's way and find his blessing and his safety over and over again. Thanks for tuning in today, and looking forward to, I believe it's 17 or maybe portion of chapter 17 next episode. Thanks for tuning in. See you next time.